So my question to you on that long-winded thing, are you seeing the same trend that I'm seeing where some companies are doubling down and upping their budget and other companies are dialing back on their budget? Are you seeing that?
That was always the case. I mean, look, man, when we first started the company, like it was tough because there was no brands we represented. It's like, you're like, hey, who do you work with? Now, if you literally took a look at our roster, I mean, it is the who's who of the industry. I mean, we have spent 19 years building relationships with every major brand. And I'll jokingly say to a CEO, I'm like, look, man, as much as like a lot of these companies will like us, it's not the liking of us that keeps them buying our product. It's the economics.
Yeah.
It just is. Like, you won't keep spending millions of dollars a year if the economics are not there. And so, yes, to your point, we see plenty of companies. I mean, I got a bathroom company. I'm good friends with their president. And I've seen him go from 3 different companies, billion-dollar brands. And then he got mixed up with these guys, or actually I should say they were friends of his, and he got an opportunity to be a CEO. And I mean, this company in 2 years, year 1, 0 to 25 mil. In year 2, they're going to hit $100 million in the first 24 months of being around. Now, like that's not your average company by any stretch. But my point is so much of it is driven by like, yeah, the consumers may at different times over a decade. Sometimes it's like fish jumping out of the water. It's easier to catch them. You just can't catch enough of them. And other times, like, hey, you gotta find a way to like shock that water and force them to jump out. Like, either way, like the point is like, if you believe that you can drive the sales and you create that type of culture, you will find a way to continue to grow. Home improvement is not going anywhere. The industry only gets bigger. The way in which you go about it may shift a little bit. And sometimes you may be more of an events company. And then COVID hits. There's not that many events out there. And you've got to pivot a little bit to be, hey, maybe I should diversify into digital. And then the election year pops up and you're like, hey, cut back on. Like, it's constantly that. But as long as you're willing to like do that, and once again, I'll go back to that lead nurturing process, like build a really solid lead nurturing process. I'm a consumer. I hire contractors all the time. And I'm at a point, Greg, where I give them such a benefit of the doubt. Like, I will make sure that like their hours of operation, I'll call them at 9 o'clock. Like, I want to give them every chance to give me the estimate. But I am still mind boggled today of how many people don't ask for the business, don't follow up, don't even like try to build a relationship and sell. And I'm like, come on, like it's going to take a little bit more than that to like convince me to spend $30,000 with you. So, I mean, a lot of this is just basics. And if you just stick to the basics over time and find a way to scale, like you'll crush it. There's so much business out there.
So if you can bring us home here, we're coming a little short on time. What are you most excited about that's to come here at Modernize?
There's a couple things. One, because we're under the Quinn Street umbrella, our marketing muscle just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And really what that means for really established partnerships is, if we could help a company do 10 million, in 2020, now we're helping them do 20 million in 2024. If it was 50, now it's 80. So our marketing muscle continues to grow, which just means those partnerships, we're able to be a much more meaningful partner from a revenue perspective. I would say the other thing too is we're just continuing to expand into categories. So roll back a couple years, we weren't in tree services, we weren't in foundations, we weren't in plumbing, and now we're expanding that. And really the benefit that provides, other than, more contractors we can work with, is a lot of our current companies, as you well know, they do a lot of different categories. And so sometimes we're not in those other categories. And as we flex into those categories, we can be a more meaningful partner. I'd say the last piece too is like we really invest heavily in the training of our people. So I've been overlooking the sales side of the division for the last 6 months, and lots of work to be done there. But the hope would be is that I can continue to calibrate the sales team to be more consultative, do a better job in setting expectations. And we do the same thing on the account management. So the resources we throw at the customer facing side of our business, we only double down year over year. And so I think when you start to add all those things together, it just means we can partner with more brands, be a more meaningful partner, and drive more revenue. And those are, typically things CEOs want to hear.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, I mean, I appreciate you joining us. And, looking at it from your perspective, you founded Modernize, right? You built your baby up. You successfully exited it, sold it to Quinn Street, I should say. And I think when I was selling windows in the house, I would say, look, you build rapport. And then all of a sudden, if they respected me and they thought I was a high level caliber person, I used my story to say, hey, look, this is what I've choose to do, because now that I'm in the door, I'm able to see how the company operates.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the proof is kind of in the pudding with Modernize today, where you've gone through that whole process, you've sold the company, now you're still there working and bridging that gap, continuing to build Modernize post acquisition, which really says that, if you wouldn't put your name on something if it wasn't going in the right direction, right? Because this is your baby. You'd want to separate as far away as possible from it and hide and cry if your brand got, destroyed. So it's a no wonder that y'all have had so much success. It's a no wonder that you're the number 5 strategic partner on Power 100's top 15 strategic partner list. And so we're super excited to kind of follow your progression and success through this year and obviously beyond. So appreciate you taking the time. I know you have a very busy schedule, and hopefully we can connect again here maybe a couple more times before the end of the year.
Yeah, I'd love it. Thanks for having me on, Greg. It's been a pleasure.
Awesome. If you like this content, you'd like to see more of it and things like it, you can visit our website, power100.io. And as always, power up.